school have sex education program?
Sex education, yeah.
So what did they teach you all in this sex education?
About the gender, the reproductive system, and how they how sex happens. Yeah, what happens during sex?
For guys, they teach them how to use a condom. That's what I can remember.
You find this sex education useful?
Yeah, it's quite useful because they just tell us about how to prevent it, and because we are at a young age and since we don't know anything, all those things.
So can you tell me what a condom is for?
It's to prevent your sons from getting into the girl's body so that babies won't be produced out.
How to prevent using condom and don't trust guys, so-called. I mean, don't have sex too early.
Yeah, and I guess that's all. Do you find this kind of education useful for someone your age?
I guess it's still not enough because I felt that if those people who have actually been through it actually tell us their experience, maybe it's more convincing that way.
What do you mean people who have been through it? I mean, if it is your teachers, they have probably been through relationships, and if they're married, they probably have, done that.
Because some are just very superficial, they don't really know what do these kind of people, for example, underage sex. Yeah, they don't really know what kind of things that these people actually went through. So,
okay, since you find it lacking, right? Have you tried maybe researching on your own?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. On the internet. Then
what are some of the things you found there?
Just when you actually search on the search engine, a lot long lists came out Then yeah, exactly. The kind of porn websites especially. So it's quite irrelevant also.
So what do you know about sex?
About sex from friends and other websites.
So what do you know last?
What exactly do you know about sex?
Sexual intercourse.
Oh. Actually, I know quite a lot.
And where do you learn it from?
Mostly it's from the friends. Then also they'll go inside, check, see what kind of sex.
Okay, but your school has no sex education. Last time, secondary school, primary school?
Don't have.
Do you think that it would have been good to have some sort of sex education in school?
Sort of because knowing too much is not a good thing also.
Okay.
Yeah, then if the kids know too much and sometimes the teacher doesn't want to tell them something else, they will find out themselves, then will lead to some other bad things.
Do your parents talk to you about, say for you, for example, do your parents talk to you about sex and what you should do and what you shouldn't do?
Sex, there's not much It's just between boyfriends and girlfriends, what you should and don't And it's when you actually have a boyfriend, what you shouldn't actually move too fast. So into those kind of things. Because in future we will kind of regret it if we did something wrong.
Okay, so what is your definition of in future did something wrong? Let's say, for example, the worst case scenario would be what?
The worst case scenario, to get pregnant and the guy will run away.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your parents tell you that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what my parents tell me.
Okay, your schools teach condom use, right? What age do you think is the right age to talk about these kind of things?
I believe at secondary school now is the correct age since we are all just maturing and we just kind of curious about most of the things. We'll be getting to know here and there, so we'll be more curious. So around this age, 14 to 15 between here.
Do you think sex is a bad thing?
For underage, it's bad.
And where do you get the idea from if nobody tells you?
Because I got friends who get pregnant. Then they get pregnant. I'm not sure.
How old is your friend?
My friend is only 16.
So actually, I think it's fair to say that young people do know about sex. They know what a condom is for, and they know that sex is bad when they are too young. Yeah. Is that what you see among your friends also?
like we have a certain extent what we have to know and not. Yeah, because if not we are not too sure of some things, we will clarify within ourselves, or not we'll take this matter to our science teacher and ask them.
Really?
Yeah.
You all do that?
Yeah, sometimes if you don't really understand, or not we'll ask within our family members and all.
Oh, so you do actually approach your parents or your other siblings when you have questions about sex?
If I'm not really too sure, I'll approach my mom or my sister.
What are some of the things that you ask your mom? For example.
I won't really go very straight to the point. I just ask her what will happen if you're pregnant and abortion. Then she'll tell me like having abortion is like killing a innocent child, a life that's going to be waste and all. So she'll explain to me more about it. Yeah.
And is that something that you don't get from school?
In school, we don't really go very intermediate. Just a brief only. Yeah.
How about you, Roseanne? Among your friends, do you feel that there's a certain level of queasiness every time you talk about sex? Or are you able to discuss issues or questions freely?
It depends. Initially, when we first talk about it, it's a bit awkward. But as you move more to the subject itself, everyone starts to give their own comments. It gets easier and easier to talk about it.
What about, actually I want to ask Jamie lah, because boys tend to make fun of this kind of things, and then as you can see, one of the guy I spoke to, he said actually I know a lot from the internet.
And from my friends.
Yeah. Is that the case?
Discussion among friends are more open for guys. They don't tend to be shy, especially among the closer ones, so that they will speak more openly on such topics. Then, of course, more opinions come out, and they'll improvise from that to get new ideas on stuff.
Get new ideas.
To get new ideas.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually quite encouraged to see the young people answering their questions in such a matter-of-fact way and in a very measured way. And I think that's an improvement and that's a virtue that we have to encourage. I'm also glad that there are more information available on the internet. But what I'm worried about is that when you share amongst your friends, you are basically just usually people like to hang around people that they agree with. So therefore they would like boys, they will talk about certain aspects of sex, and whereas girls will talk about certain aspects of sex. And I feel that as educators in school, it's very important for us to present a holistic, an overview, a big picture, just as we have presented other subjects to encourage thinking, to encourage discussion, to encourage to develop teenagers to be able to speak their mind clearly and without fear in any subject. So that's why I think the school is very important in presenting facts, and not just facts of certain areas, but overall big picture. Maybe look at the world, at different countries, and what is their attitude, different cultures, what's their attitude, different religion, what's their attitude on sex.
Actually, I agree with Otto, because when I was out, I was sort of expecting it to be very difficult to get people to speak to me about it, because as you saw, I really just went around, what do you know about sex?
Quite in your face,
yeah, it's quite scary. So actually I was quite encouraged, but then I also speak to another group of young people. They are younger, and I thought their reactions to me was a bit worrying. So we'll have a look at that in the next segment.